Shazam!
We just saw it. It's my favorite movie ever.
It's so fun. Like,
Dude, Shazam is one of my favorite superheroes ever.
he is now. I'm not even gonna lie. He's just
Dude.
because of that film. He went up in the list for me, man. Like
Shazam!
Hadouken.
Basically, okay, so Shazam. There's a wizard, and the wizard he's looking for a new champion that he can give his powers to, so that champion can protect the realms. And he's looking for someone pure of heart. So he initially goes for Thaddeus Savannah, but he turns out not to be pure of heart, and throws him back into the world after bringing him to the Rock of Eternity. And then Dr. Savannah goes crazy. His family owns a company. The rich. He goes crazy looking for the wizard again, but the wizard gets so old that Thaddeus comes back, basically overpowers the wizard after the 7 deadly sins that were in the Rock of Eternity go into Dr. Savannah and make him powerful like Shazam, sort of. And the wizard now is desperately needing someone to come and stop Dr. Savannah, who has the deadly sins in him. So that's when he gets Billy Batson. So Billy comes in, he says, "Say my name." He's like, "You serious?" He's like, "What's your name?" "Shazam." So when he says
I like how he
Shazam,
says it though. No enthusiasm whatsoever. He's like Shazam, and then bam!
bang! Lightning bolt comes down, turns him into the perfect human, Zachary Levi, and the rest is history. So that's basically the origin of Shazam. He's pretty cool. His powers are magic based. He's a lot like Superman in ways, but his powers are magic based. Shazam is an acronym. So what is it? Wisdom of Solomon, strength of Hercules, speed of Achilles, something like that. Power of Zeus, stamina of Atlas. No, speed of Mercury, and I think it's like power of Achilles, something like that. But they're acronyms for the gods, and he has all these powers. He's bulletproof. He can fly. He has sparkly fingers, lightning manipulation.
Sparkly fingers.
Just the way they go over it in the film is so good. But he's a foster kid. I'll try to have the trailer playing in the background, but besides the whole superhero aspect, just him in the foster home and that whole story, they did that so well.
Yeah, it was. I really liked it. It was.
They did it so good. And then just adding the superhero part to it kind of gave a kid who had nothing, gave him everything. And at first, he was using his powers to get money. In the comics, he only got $20, but in this, I think he said he got $70 or like $80 or something off the lady.
Off the bat, and then all the selfies and everything else.
Yeah, and then he would basically be a local celebrity because of that. And then for his boy Freddy, my favorite person in the movie, created a YouTube channel, and they were making YouTube videos, getting famous off of it, getting money. But then Dr. Savannah comes, finds him, tears him apart. Basically, there was this epic chase scene through the mall.
That was amazing, and it was when they were having the conflicts too. So
yeah. So that's basically part of the story. So he chases down Shazam. Shazam turns back into Billy, tries to go hide out at the where's he go? Does he go back to the foster home? I think he goes back to the foster home, and they say that he goes back to the foster home. Eugene found his birth mother, gives him the address. He runs out to find the address. The kids go check the door again, and Dr. Savannah is back with Freddy because he realized that Freddy was Billy's best friend, so he tracked him back to the foster home. So that's and then he holds all the foster kids hostage, and then Billy has to jump off a building in a very epic way, say Shazam in midair, and fly to the rescue And that's the gist of the story, basically, without spoilers. That's just kind of the like quick synopsis of it. But now we're gonna get into spoilers. But overall, the movie was absolutely amazing. I give it. I honestly, I give it a 10 out of 10.
Okay, I wouldn't go that far.
And it's the only DC movie that I would give a 10 out of 10. I would say Aquaman. I would say Aquaman is very, very close to a 10 out of 10. I'd give Aquaman like a 9.8.
I didn't like the special effects of Aquaman, so I'd give it like an 8.
Yeah, there were just times in Aquaman where I don't know, but it was probably the second best DC movie. I don't know. Man of Steel and Wonder Woman are both amazing too, but I'd say Aquaman is one of the second best. But Shazam, it's not the best comic book movie, but it is the best movie about a superhero. Like you want to know what a superhero is? Watch Shazam. Like he is basic superhero. They did the basic superhero story perfectly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not a king of Atlantis. He's not Wonder Woman. He's not a vigilante. He's not even an alien like Superman. But he's just a foster kid who keeps running away from homes. He's homeless, and a wizard gives him powers that makes him basically invincible, all powerful, and it just shows how he goes from being selfish and using those powers and being a kid to actually being a hero and saving his family. It's a perfect superhero movie.
Yeah, it definitely was. The only thing is there was a little like.
So I give it a 10 out of 10. And what do you give it?
Maybe like a 9.1.
So a little over 9.
Because
okay.
There were some flawed moments, especially the way they jumped into it. Like right off the bat with the wizard, and there wasn't much explaining going on. He was talking all this nonsense like this kid was supposed to understand and everything. And then for some reason the kid, was like, I'm worthy, and all that kind of stuff he doesn't understand at all. He doesn't question anything. He's just like, yeah, I'll take I'm worthy, I deserve this, and all this other kind of crap.
And that's why he was not worthy.
That's like if the intro was done a little bit better, like the way they introduced Billy Batson is absolutely amazing. There's no denying that. But just
no, I see what you mean. Well, because it's hard. I see what you mean. But since I'm such a huge Shazam fan, that I already knew like a ton about this going into the movie. So like I realized as soon as Dr. Savannah as a kid walked into the Rock of Eternity and they showed the caterpillar, I was like, oh look, that's Mr. Mind. Like I already know about all this stuff. So, but coming from a perspective of someone who doesn't know as much about Shazam, I could definitely see where the beginning was confusing, because you're not sure like what the Rock of Eternity is or what the wizard's talking about. He explains it later in the movie to Billy, which makes a lot more sense, but in the initial part of the movie it didn't really make sense. But I think that was on purpose, because it kind of made Dr. Savannah look even more crazy. But yeah, I see what you mean. So a spoiler, Dr. Savannah, he finds a way to go back to the Rock of Eternity using magic, and he takes, the 7 deadly sins that were trapped in the Rock of Eternity break free.
By the way, the 7 deadly sins.
Dude, they were amazing. Like,
that was awesome. Like,
you want to talk about really cool,
CGI,
like, CG villains?
There's
like
CGI. There's CGI.
There's CGI Doomsday, and then there's CGI Shazam.
And then there's Envy. There's Doomsday on the scale from 1 to 10, or you could say a scale from Doomsday to Envy.
And like, they didn't even need to be anything special. They were just like weird, like magic smoke monsters, but it works so good. Like, that's all it needed to be. Like, because then Dr. Savannah, That dude was a boss. What I want to say is, when he walked into the room and he yeeted his brother out the window so quick, dude. He walked up to his brother and he just grabbed him and just tossed him out the window of like this 50-story building, skyscraper. Like, just no mercy, no hesitation. And then all the, like, 6 of the deadly sins came out of Savannah or whatever and just destroyed everybody in the room, and it looked like Alien vs. Predator. Like, it looked like a horror movie. Dude, it was so cool.
Yeah, that was, and his dad, he's like, here, Greed, all yours, buddy.
Yeah, but dude, towards the end, whenever Shazam was calling out Envy, he was like, that's why none of the other sins invite you out to play, because you're a small, weak, pathetic Envy. And then in mid-air, he jumps out of Savannah, and Savannah falls. And then I was waiting for the moment where Shazam was going to say, like, Shazam, and the lightning bolt was going to come down on someone. And then it came down and just completely destroyed Envy. And then it came back. But it was cool for, like, 5 seconds. Oh, my goodness. When Mary tried to shoot him in the eye, and he just caught it.
Oh my!
But
it's just so good, man.
Hadouken.
Yes.
We got dude, and like, since I'm a Shazam fan, like,
references.
I already knew, big spoilers, that all of the foster kids were gonna get Shazam, like the powers of Shazam.
See, I didn't know that was gonna happen in the movie. I knew it happened. Like, I know it's a thing, but I didn't know it was gonna happen in the film. Like, I was like, wow, they actually did it. I'm like,
I thought it was just gonna be at the very, very, very end. Like, they were just gonna show them for 5 seconds and it'd be done with. Dude, they showed them fighting for like a good 25 minutes.
Yeah,
of them fighting.
It was good.
And the way they did it was good because they foreshadowed it at the beginning. He was like, I'm all alone, and these were the thrones of our brothers and sisters. And the Rock of Eternity. And they referenced Black Adam, and I don't know, that might have been Dwayne The Rock Johnson actually like acting that out, because he was in the credits for the movie.
Was he?
Yeah, if you look at as soon as the credits start to roll at the end, not too long after, it said Dwayne Johnson. Unless it's another Dwayne Johnson. I don't know.
No, I didn't see that, but
they did reference him, and said a long time ago he gave his powers to somebody, but he used it for revenge. And that whole story is really cool. Black Adam.
Yeah. What's really cool, what's up with the caterpillar or the centipede or whatever? Like, I'm not too big of a Shazam guy, so I didn't know who that was. I'm like, they showed this way earlier in the movie. Just,
yeah.
Like, Billy Batson just looked at him and he's like, okay, it's just a caterpillar. Who gives it? You know?
Okay, so let me explain a little bit. You remember that part of the movie where they went in and there were all those doors?
Yeah.
Well, the door they opened up, it was like, what, was it crocodiles or something playing poker?
Yeah. Yeah,
well,
it was like the painting.
Yeah, those doors are into different realms, like the 7 realms. And I'm pretty sure the one they opened was called the Wildlands, and that's where, like, animals are like us humans. They act like humans in that realm. So Mr. Mind, he's like a big villain because he gets together a team, like the Society of like Evil People or something like that, and he takes over the realms because he's a magical being himself, and he's like really dangerous. That's why he was locked up in the Rock of Eternity. But then when the Sins broke free, it set Mr. Mind free as well. So that's pretty much it. He's old. He was old. He's like really old in the comics.
That was
one thing I think is I loved, and I think is kind of underrated in this movie, even though it did just come out. I think the soundtrack and the score of the movie was really good. If you listen to the Shazam theme, it sounds like the original Superman theme mixed with Hercules. And I'm like, dude, that's perfect.
Yo,
because
speaking of Superman,
dude, yeah, I know, but the soundtrack was like, imagine Superman mixed with like Greek gods and like that pantheon.
To scream, man.
So that was awesome. But then at the end, Freddy was sitting all alone at the desk, and then at lunch, and the whole Foster family came to sit around him, and then Shazam walked in, and he was like, "Oh hey, that's my man Freddy, my best friend, with all these random people," and he sat with him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I invited one more person," and then Superman walks in the cafeteria, like what? Freddy was probably my favorite in the movie. Freddy, and then Zachary Levi.
Yeah.
As Shazam, but Freddy, and then the actor they had to play Freddy when he turned into Shazam looked just like him, except older. It looked and act just like him when he was older. Like the other ones, I was like, yeah, you got another Asian person,
the Asian.
It's just an Asian person. He looks the same. And then Pedro,
I was laughing.
I mean, he gave him a beard and a fade, so yeah, okay. Mary looks the same, but then again, she was 17 in the movie, so she's only a few years older, looks the same. Darla, that's a huge age difference, so yeah, she looks good. Zachary Levi, he's iconic. But Freddy, I was like, dude, they went into the future and got this kid as an adult and brought him back just to film this movie.
I like when they transformed or whatever, you just see the crutch drop. And I'm like, yo.
Okay, I want to point out something very big, real quick. I was worried about something happening, and it didn't happen. I was worried that whenever the foster family were going to get the powers, that they were going to, like, instantly be able to do what Shazam has been doing. Because it took Shazam all of the movie to get a grasp on his powers. And, yeah, the Shazam family got a grasp a lot quicker, but like, it even showed Darla, like, she didn't know how to use her super speed at first. And it didn't show them just instantly knowing how to master their powers, like, as they were fighting the Sin.
Marvel.
Yeah, like, exactly, that's exactly where I was going. Like, the first Captain Marvel, just flying out of nowhere, like, what? If you notice, the entire time they were fighting, I was kind of upset because Mary was like trapped the entire time by, what was it, gluttony or something? Mary was trapped. And I was like, why isn't Mary doing anything? I was like, oh yeah, she doesn't know how to use her powers like Captain Marvel. She has to learn. So I was like, yeah, it makes sense she's not winning right now. And then Pedro, all he did was hold up the Ferris wheel and just punch things. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And then of course Eugene with the Hadouken. Like, that makes sense because he plays video games. So as soon as he figured out his fingers, like, conduct electricity, he was firing electricity balls at people. Like, that makes sense. Freddy learning how to fly, that was kind of a Mary Sue moment. But that was so cool. He flew away giving them suitcase wedgies. If you didn't notice that. When he rescued the two bullies off the Ferris wheel, when he was flying away, he was giving them wedgies like they gave to him. But they did that part very, very well.
They did. I like how they didn't do, like, the superhero cliches. When he was, like, holding up the thing.
The bus?
Just punched him. Like, it was ruthless. He just hit him. Like, there was no magical, like, something he learned. And the Ferris wheel fell. It fell.
It fell. Like, they didn't keep it from falling. Like, it fell. Or the bus.
They realistically did that. The villains were ruthless.
Dude, that bus scene at the beginning with the dog. Dude, I lost it when the dog didn't move. He caught the bus, and he went to go set the bus down and looked down, and there was a dog just sitting there. He's like, be a good boy, move. And that dog just looked at him. He moved so slow, dude. He walked away so slow.
He's just struggling, and the dog's just like...
Dude, that kind of stuff kills me. I laughed so much during this movie.
Warner Brothers Studios and DC and WB did not have... obviously I said Warner Brothers or WB's in that, but New Line Cinema
had a
so
lot
much
to do with
to
that.
do
Yeah, the
with
director
the
and
way
New Line
that-
Cinema. Exactly.
Oh man, it was.
It's such a good movie. So where does this rank? I give it a 10 out of 10. You give it, let's say, a 9 point. You said 9.1?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Where does this rank for you out of the DC movies? So what's your top 5?
Yeah.
Top 3,
Okay,
top
number
5.
1, Shazam now. Number 2 is Wonder Woman. Number 3, I would go with Aquaman. Number 4, try to think of all. I guess I would go with Justice League. And then number 5, Suicide Squad.
Okay, mine is definitely Shazam. Shazam. Number 2, Aquaman. 3, Wonder Woman. 4, Man of Steel. 5, Batman v Superman. Extended edition. Got a big difference. Huge difference. Huge
The
difference.
theater.
Theatrical cut was trash. Like, I wanted to walk out of the theater. It didn't make sense. But yeah, so I think we wrap it up there. I mean, we kind of went over it and all the good stuff. Anything else?
What? How about like all of? Let's just go back to what we were talking about. The process of him learning how to use his powers. Like,
Oh my goodness, that was
even
amazing.
like, and like it still showed him like he was so childish. He's like, what? And to get beer or whatever.
I'd
And
like
then-
to purchase some of your finest beer.
And then that whole scene when he stopped the robber and
He said,
all that.
"We don't know if it's your suit that's bulletproof or you're bulletproof." He's like, "Oh yeah. Here, shoot me in the face." What? Shoot me in the face?
The gunshots, yes. Oh my god. Hey, wait, shoot me in the face.
Oh, and then, dude, and it was actually, even though it was a hilarious movie, an action-packed movie, it was dramatic too, because the arguing between Billy and Freddy about Freddy was like, Billy was like, "You just wish you had this," and he was like, "Yeah, I wish I did have that. Like, I wish I could do what you could do, because I wouldn't be going around being stupid, asking, doing stuff for money like you. I'd be saving people."
And I like how they didn't go with the cliche of everyone being stupid and not knowing how to, find out facts.
Oh yeah, that was
That's
easy.
who
Yeah,
Billy is.
Mary,
Yeah.
Mary found it out pretty quick. Like, honestly, even though it was later in the movie, like in her time frame, like she found it out pretty quick. And Savannah, like, he just literally looked at the TV, saw Freddy, looked to the left, saw Freddy, and captured him. Like, that's what a supervillain should do. Like,
Exactly.
It's not that hard. Final remarks about the movie. Favorite quote. Go ahead, go.
You know what? I know the perfect quote. Shazam.
I was just a little boy, shaped by his tragedies. The pain and agony eventually became a fantasy. Let me introduce myself as Billy Batson, happily a conduit of power that could change a kid's anatomy. Parents, they were murdered, I was orphaned in the system, but little did I know that I'd be morphing from a victim to a powerhouse. Imagination forced into existence, a new organism headed by a wizard and his wisdom. Just another day, I was hopping on the train when I heard a voice say I was chosen on the way. What? Hopped off, but it wasn't anything familiar. Met the man claiming he's a wizard, beard silver. Now he leaned in close to tell me that I'm worthy of power divine, burly with biceps so curvy. Wow. He said, I will give you what'll change the game. All you gotta do is say my name and let it rain like Shazam. When I'm coming down the block, you can see the villains with the guns cocked get dropped like Shazam. When I'm coming through the street, all the ladies looking at me, I sweep them off their feet like Shazam. When I'm cleaning up the neighborhood, making all the haters see you later, cause I make it good. Shazam, a protector of the galaxy. What a marvel, you can call me Captain Marvel actually. Then I said the word conquered and was transformed from a little boy to a man's form, stronger than a mass horde. Then I said, Wizard Shazam, what does it stand for? And he said, Solomon and Hercules, but there's more. Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, and Mercury. I can take the strength of the gods, willed it perfectly. Now, but it's yours and it's bottled up internally. All you gotta do is say the name and you turn to he. Then I left and ran to my boy Freddy. These powers are unsteady and I need to be ready. Put it through the paces and discovered every day a new ability that's shaping my approach in every way. Wow. One day I'm learning how to fly through the wooden roof. Then I got shot and I found out I'm bulletproof. I am ready as ever, they will pay. Any villains in the way get slayed when I say Shazam. When I'm coming down the block, you can see the villains with their guns cocked get dropped like Shazam. When I'm coming through the street, all the ladies looking at me, I sweep them off their feet like Shazam. When I'm cleaning up the neighborhood, making all the haters see you later, cause I make it good. Shazam, a protector of the galaxy. What a marvel, you can call me Captain Marvel actually. Shazam, when I'm coming down the block, you can see the villains with their guns cocked get dropped like Shazam. When I'm coming through the street, all the ladies looking at me, I sweep them off their feet like Shazam. When I'm cleaning up the neighborhood, making all the haters see you later, cause I make it good. Shazam, a protector of the galaxy. What a marvel, you can call me Captain Marvel actually. I was done. I sat in the back knowing that I would revamp, make you come back. Once you come back, recap anything you missed, looking back.